Hey all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss about inheritance in OOPS. Inheritance is a very important property in OOPS concept. So when it comes to inheritance, what is meant by this inheritance? So basically, by using this inheritance, we can be building the classes on the parent class, on the existing class. So we can take one class and we can inherit all the properties of that class in our subclasses. That is called inheritance basically. Okay, so let me tell you with a small example here. Here if you see here, I am having two classes, which is class A and class B. Now if you see here, I am building this class B on class A. So now if you see here, my class A is called as base class. Base class means the present class, the actual class. So based on this actual class, I am building this class B, which is called as the extended class or child class. Got my point? So basically this class A will be having some properties and methods, whereas class B is also having some properties and methods. Is it or not? Right? So when it comes to inheriting properties and methods, so basically what happens means, as I told you, class B is built upon class A. So whatever properties and methods that are present in class A will be inherited by class B. Okay, so along with the properties and methods of class A, class B will also having its individual properties and methods. Okay, let me put it in a simple explanation for you. For example, if you are inheriting some property from your parents, okay, so the property that belongs to your parents will be inherited by you, so that property belongs to you. Similarly, you will be earning some property, is it or not? That property also belongs to you. Okay, so you, since you are inheriting the property, your parents property belongs to you. Similar, and as well as that, along with that, you will also be earning some property which is again belonging to you. So in this way here, whatever properties and methods that we are assigning in class A, they can be used in class B. Okay, as well as when you are having any properties and methods in class B, they can also be used in class B. Got my point? So this is about the inheritance. So basically in inheritance, the first class is called as either base class or parent class. Okay, these are some of the names of this present class, okay, existing class. So the second class, that means on which the builded class, from which class we have builded, that class is called as extended class, child class, subclass, derived class. So these all are names of this particular class B. Okay, so as I told you, class B will be inheriting all the properties or methods of class A. Clear? So that is inheritance property. So let us see one example here so that it will be easily understood for you. Now here if you see, class, parent class. So this is my class, okay, and here I am having one property ADDR, right? Now when it comes to inheritance, as I told you, you will be extending everything from, you will be building on the parent class. So that is why when you are, this is the syntax for that particular thing, extends. Okay, when you are using the extends keyword along with the parent class name, then that is called as inheritance property. Now what happens, class, child class, okay, and it is extended from parent class. So now what happens, whatever properties and methods that are there in parent class, they will be used in this, they are inherited by this child class also. Now along with that, as I told you, if this child class is having any individual properties, those also is used by this child class. Now if you see here, this child class is having property data. Okay, along with this, it is also, since it is extended from parent class, so it is also having ADDR as a property. Got my point? Yes. Now again I have taken two classes. One is extended from another class, and then within module I am creating the handle for my child class. Now if you see here, I have extended the class from child class. So child class C equal to new. Just I have extended the object and then created the handle, everything. Now by addressing with c dot address. Okay, now if you see here, since this is the extended class, so can access the addr also. So that is why with the child class handle I am addressing the parent class property. Okay, so c dot address equal to 10, c dot data equal to 20. Now if you see here, the output is value of address is 10 and data is 20. Got my? So even though if you see here, even though you didn't create any object for parent class, but since you are using the inheriting property, so that is why by using the child class handle only you can access the parent class also. Got my point? So this is how it is used. So reusing purposes, inheriting is mainly supported for reusing purposes. That means by using the one handle you can also now use access this parent class properties and methods also. Got my point? So this is, let me give you one more example here. Now if you see here, parent, okay, here this is my parent class. Okay, here my class is having one property which is data, and then along with it, it is also having one method. Okay, disp. Okay, this is my method. Display p is my method and data is my property. Now if you see here, I am taking another class which is extends. That means it is inheriting all the properties and methods of my parent class. So along with it, it is also having some individual properties. So id is its method, so id is its property, and disp c is its method. So as I told you, since it is inheriting all the properties of parent class, so by using the child class handle only you can access both dis display p and data. Now what happened, I am taking, okay, within module I have created the handle for my child class, okay, ctr, and I have created the object for it. Now as I told you, by using this ctr.data, ctr.id. Now if you see here, ctr data belongs to parent class, but since it is inherited by child class, so this can be used for here along with the id you can also access data by using the child class handle. So that is why data id. Similarly, ctr.display, ctr.dispc. Okay, so by using the child class handle you can access both properties and methods of parent class when you are inheriting using inheriting property. Okay, now so if you see here, this is the code that we have discussed in the before slide. Yes, so this code here, it is having a data. In parent class it is having a property called data and dispsp as a method. Similarly in child class it is having id as a property and dispc as this display. Okay, now if I run this particular code, okay, since I am using inheriting property, you can handle the values with the child class handle. So that is why value of data is 5 and value of id is 1. Why is it? Because I have assigned the value by using only child class handle. I didn't create any handle for my parent class. Even though I didn't create any handle, since I am inheriting all the properties from my parent class, I can easily handle it with my child class. Now for example, for the same code, have you seen the output here? Value is of data is 5 and value of id is 1. Now for this same code, okay, if I am not using this particular inheritance property, that means what I am doing here is I will just comment this particular extends dot parent transaction as I will comment it, and then I have just taken only two classes. So first class is my parent transaction and second class is my child transaction. Okay, and now I have created only ctr. Okay, that means I have created handle for only my child class. Fine. Now if you see here, okay, I am handling, I have taken only my child class, but by using my child class pointer I am pointing out the parent class property. So what is it here? If you see the output here, it is showing, see, Data not found in CTR. Why? Because I'm not using inheritance property. So now what happens, since I'm not using any inheritance property, so the child class will be having its individual properties and the parent class will be having its individual properties. So now if you want to point out the parent class properties, then what you have to do, you have to create a handle for parent class and you have to create an object for it, and then you have to use that particular point, then you have to point out that particular property. Okay, but when you are using this particular inheritance property, now what happens, since you are using this inheritance property, so whatever that is there in parent class, since it is easily inherited by the child class, so by using only one handle you can point both the child class as well as parent class properties and methods. Have you seen this? Yes, clear. So this is about the child class and parent class properties. Okay, inheritance property mainly, right? So the same thing here, when you want to access with two classes also. Okay, here as I told you, OOPS concept, mainly inheritance concepts, allows you for reusing purposes. So how is it? So if you see here, this is my parent class. Okay, I have taken two properties, which is data and ID. Okay, and then I am writing a display function in order to display my data and ID, and then end function, right? And then I have taken the child class properties here. Okay, I have taken the child class which is extended from parent or transaction. Now if you see here, within the child class also I have taken same properties like data and ID. Okay, and then what happens, I am writing again the display function. Now if you see here, I have taken two handles. Okay, one for my parent transaction handle and another is my child transaction handle. So since I am taking two handles, so even though I am taking the same data and ID as the names for both my parent as well as child class properties also, but since I am taking two new handles for individual handles like PTR and CTR, now what happens, since I am taking two handles, so they will be both individually having their own values. So that is why if you see here, when I am accessing it with my parent handle, then those will be saved in parent handle properties. Similarly, if I am accessing it with my child handle, so all the values will be stored within my child handle. So since I have returned two individual displays for both by parent transaction as well as child transaction, so that is why you will be having as value of data equal to 100 and ID equal to 1. Clear? So this is how you will be accessing the class members. Either you can do it by taking only single pointer, or you can do it with two individual pointers also. Clear? So this is about the inheritance property. You will be having lot more examples in inheritance. My suggestion for you is, if you want to know more about the inheritance properties, because OOPS concept is mainly based on the properties like inheritance, polymorphism, okay, abstraction. So these are very important properties in OOPS. Okay, if you know about these properties only, you can understand easily what is going on, or how to analyze the particular code. Okay, so try to work out on as many examples as possible in order to have more confidence on this inheritance concept, because even though these concepts are easy to understand, but when you are analyzing the code, whatever you think may not be the output of of that particular code. So that is why try to analyze as many codes as you can. And also in the upcoming classes I will be explaining many more codes for you, don't worry about that. So now if you see this particular example here, yes, so this is my particular class, right? This is the parent class. Okay, this parent class is having two properties, which is data and ID, okay, as well as display function, right? And this child class, which is since it is extends keyword, so it is inheriting the properties of parent class. So since it is inheriting the properties of parent class, basically if you didn't give any value for this data and ID in the child class, they will be holding the values that are given in the parent class itself, right? So and also it is having one more display function. Now if you see this, I am taking two individual handles for my parent class as well as child class, and I have created an object for both of them. Now here if you see, I have already assigned some values like 101 for my parent class. But by using this parent class handle, I am overriding these values. Okay, like 111 and 0. Right? And then with my CTR, with my child class handle, again I'm pointing the data and ID as 202. Now again I'm calling with my child class handle my display function as well as my parent class handle my display function. Now if I run this particular code, okay, how the output will be done. Right, if you see here, my base class is 111 and 0, because even though I have given the values as 101, since I have overridden it in my code with my parent class handle, so that is why the output is 311 and 0, and for my child class they are 202. Everything is fine now. Now for example, what I have asked you in the starting, if I am pointing both this with only one handle, that means I have taken only my child class handle. I didn't give any parent class handle, or I didn't create any object for that. Okay, but I am giving only child class handle, right? So this is the thing. So I am displaying only for my child class handle. Now if I am doing this, how the output will be done? Like if you see here, my data and ID are 101 for my parent class, but that is overridden to 202 by using my child class. So this is how the thing is. That means whenever you want to override the base class members, okay, that means whenever you want to override the properties and methods of base class, you can do it in inheritance method by overriding all the properties and methods in my base class with the child class handle. This is called as overriding properties. Okay, so in order to, if anyone in the interview asks you a question like, how do you override the base class properties and methods? Okay, by using the inheritance method, you can override the properties of base class by pointing out with it with your child class handle. Clear? So this is how the example. If you want to see this code, you can just pause this video and check out the same code. This is the same code that I have mentioned you in this particular EDA playground example, right? So this is how you will be overriding the base class members, right? Now as we have already know that, now if you see the same example here, okay, I have overridden the data and ID value from 101 to 202 by using this overriding property. But if even though I have overridden it, if I want to point all the values, if I want to see the values in my parent class, how is that possible? Okay, even though I have overridden it my child class, but I want to point what are the values in my, want to see what are the values, or what are the values that are holding in my properties in my parent class. How can I do that? Okay, you can do that by using the super keyword. Okay, super keyword is used in the child class in order to refer to the parent class. So whenever you want to refer to parent class properties and methods, you can do that by using the super class keyword. Okay, so for example, okay, if the method of a parent class, see if you see this particular line here, if the method of the parent class is overridden in the child class, then using the super keyword, parent class can be accessed from the child class even though you have overridden it. Okay, but you want to access those properties and methods, you can do that by using the super keyword. Okay, let me give you a small example for that. Okay, if you see the example here, this is the example without any super keyword. If you don't use any super keyword basically, and if you are using the overriding method like it is in this way, like if you see here, this is my parent class, it is having the property data and then a method display. Okay, similarly the child class which is extended from parent class, it is also having the same property data. Okay, now again the display function. Now if you see here the same example, for the child class I have taken the handle. Okay, with this handle I am giving the data as 5. Okay, so the data value is 5 here. Okay, so whenever I'm displaying, I'm calling the display function, so the child value will be 5. Fine. Yes, so this is the child class which is having the value of data as 5. Now this is fine. For example, if I want to point out the data that is there in my parent class, how can I do that? Okay, if you see the same example here, okay, this is my parent class with the property data and then display. Again the same thing like data and display. Now if you see here within the display, what I am doing, I am first super dot data. That means super refers to the above class. That means the parent class. The when from which class the child class is derived, the super refers to that class. So if you see here, this is the child class from which it is derived. It is derived from this parent class. So super refers to the data within this parent class. So within the super dot data, I am assigning the value as 3, and then I am calling the super dot display function. Okay, now if you see here, this is my display. Okay, for the child class display. So value of data equal to percentage h and data, right, and then n function. So this is the function in which for which I am writing it in my child class. So within the child class, I am calling my parent class handle by using the super keyword. Okay, again within the module I have created only the handle for my ctr, and now ctr dot data equal to 5. That means I am assigning the value as 5 here. Okay, now ctr dot display, again I'm calling this display function. Okay, so this is my display function. So what is there within this display function? Within this display function, I am assigning the value for this particular data as 3, and then I am calling this function. So what is the display function here? Base value of data equal to 3. Why 3? Because I have already assigned this particular value as 3. Okay, and then the second display function, which is for child class data. So for this child class data, I have assigned it as 5 value. So those 5 will be displayed. Got my point? If you are not using this particular super dot display, then what happens? This value 3, for example, even though if you are giving the value as 3 here, okay, this value is overridden as 5 if you are not using a super dot keyword. Okay, since you are using the super keyword, you can access the parent class properties also within your child class. Even though if you are overriding it, if you are going to override also, you can access those values by using the super keyword. Okay, got my point? So this is the use of super keyword in inheritance for when you are overriding the base class members with your child class properties. Okay, so this is about the super keyword. Okay, if you like this video, please consider subscribing my channel and hit on the notification bell also. In the next class, we are